Good day, folks, and welcome to the Anorak Review Show with your host, the Anorak. We continue looking at debut albums this month, this time with a rather lesser known prog rock band from the 70s and 80s, Camel. While I couldn't find a whole lot of information regarding this band, the album, and the overall history and background and whatnot, what is known is that even though they're not as well known as other prog bands of the same era, they're still influential nonetheless, with the band Marillion and Steve Wilson of Porcupine Tree citing Camel as a major influence upon their stuff, and even Mark Blake of Prog Magazine considered them to be the great unsung heroes of 70s prog rock, in his words. Despite the sparse releases of later albums, to the point that they hadn't released another studio album in about 21 years or so, Camel still seemed to be around and performing to this day, still fronted by its founder and only constant member remaining, Andrew Latimer. And that pretty much brings us to this record here. Having already signed on to MCA Records, Camel had done the whole album within a span of 11 days at the Morgan Studios in London. And upon its release in February 1973, 50 years ago, it had a bit of a lukewarm success at best, and the record company didn't guarantee a second album. So the band decided to jump ship over to Decca Records, where they would be for the rest of the 70s and into the early 80s. So let's see how it all started by jumping into Camel's 1973 eponymous debut album, and find out just how much of a first impression they made. We begin the album with Slow Yourself Down, co-written between guitarist and frontman Andrew Latimer and drummer Andy Ward, and one of two songs here to feature Andrew on lead vocals. It starts off with that distinct yet recognizable Hammond organ played by the late Peter Bardens, before Andrew sings that he was told you're searching for a new place, especially one where the rent would be cheap, and that tomorrow will have a true face, and by then, tomorrow and yesterday will both have a face off. The song seems to be about how anyone who has dreams, ambitions, and aspirations, even as simple as wanting to go somewhere nice like the Summerland town, as the song puts it, they have to slow down and take their time building to it. They tell me your past often hurts you, and even your friends, they would desert you. This could likely mean how someone could be so worked up on their past that they might end up alienated and isolated from anyone around them. Then when Andrew sings, "But you are beginning to see the same things have happened to me," this seems to indicate that he empathizes with this individual person, as he might have gone through similar issues as well. Then in the third and last verse, "You tell me your dreams have been broken, and not enough words have been spoken." This could be where this person gets hit hard by reality and finds out that whatever they said or did just weren't enough to reach their goal or achieve their dream. Kind of like how I would feel whenever I have to get an assignment done on time. And that's all within the first minute and a half. The remaining 3 minutes and 20 seconds, tops, are basically energetic jamming between Andrew's guitar and Peter's organ, and it's pretty nice. So much for slowing yourself down. This is a pretty decent enough prog tune and a good opener to the album. Next is Mystic Queen, written by keyboardist Peter Bardens, and one of two songs in the album to have the bassist Doug Ferguson take on main vocals. The mood and tone for this track is set up right from the start, with that slow guitar by Andrew over what seemed to be a faint sound of rain or wind before Andy's drums, Peter's organ, and of course Doug's dreary yet soulful vocals come into play. As Doug asks us, if we seen the titular mystic queen tiding in her limousine over hills and dales till morning. If it happened to be a Hummer stretch limo, then yeah, I might have seen one. If you like, I'll take you there. Find some colours you can wear, colours that you've only seen while dreaming. Colours you've seen only when dreaming, huh? So, Eigengrau? That's a natural thing, look it up. And much like with Slow Yourself Down, those are the only bits of lyrics in this song. Sure, they're sung again near the end, but between, we get some more fantastic instrumentation where that Hammond organ and the David Gilmour-esque electric guitar really play off each other, as well as that strumming acoustic guitar that honestly wouldn't sound too out of place in something like Pink Floyd's Animals. Plus, we have some drums and bass tied it all together, and we have one fine piece of solemn rock music. Then we have 6/8, spelt as ATE. Written by Andrew and one of 2 instrumental tracks on the album. I guess the lyrical content so far has been so minuscule, why even bother writing any more for this one? And the title itself may be fitting in a way, since this is 6 minutes and 8 seconds of pure jazzy rock and roll with a bit of a flamenco vibe to it as well. So, puns and play on words and all. Wordplay. The overall track seemed to go from mood to mood every minute or so, ranging from jumpy and upbeat to slow and easygoing. Much like with a lot of songs by Emerson, Lake and Palmer, this Camel song seems to show what prog bands of the day were mostly best at. Long, extended compositions that definitely put more emphasis on the instruments individually and all together, rather than just making them the background element to accompany vocals. Everyone here are at their element here, especially Peter's organ as usual and Andy's clean percussion. However, even then still, all the instruments seem to be well mixed and balanced together, with none of them ending up overbearing or anything, which I commend for anyways. Some might seem as going on a bit too long, but I don't think it detriments it too much. 6/8 is a cool and dynamic demonstration of Camel's music at their purest and simplest. This song exists simply for its own sake. Side 1 ends with Separation, also written by Andrew, and the other one here to have him singing it. It's somewhat more blunt and rockier in nature at least, with the drums rolling and storming into the scene, while Andrew sings about fighting every day is as if somehow we lost our way. But mostly it was fighting over who gets to pay the check. When we'd first begun, we lived as one, but as time goes on, we move our own way. I guess you can say they can go their own way, and can call it another lonely day. Which may foreshadow the subject of next review. We then get a surprisingly decent guitar solo by Andrew himself. Not the most catchy or memorable, but once you actually hear and listen to it, it's quite emotive. Afterwards, we change into a brief yet slower bit where Andrew sings that separation's the only way, separation starts today. As you might guess and imagine, this song is mostly about separating and divorcing, which I think many adults, married or otherwise, could very well relate to. Andrew mentions how it's just no use in going on when all the feelings have gone. They both have tried, and they know so, but they have also lied as well. As if both sides and parties are just as guilty as the other of hiding secrets. After a period of, again, the few amount of lyrics this track has, we get another guitar solo to close out this song and the first side of the album. And funny enough, while the lyrics are about something as simple as a couple splitting up, the music seems to make it like a boss battle in an old video game, which kind of makes the whole thing arguably a little bit cheesy, but that's just part of the charm of it too. It's still somewhat serious, but not exactly doom and gloom either. It's just what it is. Side 2 begins with Never Let Go. Possibly the closest to being their most well-known song, if even that at all. Written by Andrew Latimer and the only track on the album to feature Peter Barden's vocals in it, like Mystic Queen, it starts off mostly rather simple and tranquil, with the acoustic sounding guitar playing along as if normal. But soon we get to hear another classic keyboard instrument that's associated with the progressive rock genre, the mellotron. And how can you ever go wrong with such a beautiful piece of musical machinery than that? And just when it fades out less than a minute in, the rest of the music kicks in as the other instruments join in, as well as Peter sings the first verse about crazy preachers of our doom telling us there's no room. Not enough for all mankind, and the seeds of time are running dry. Don't they know it's a lie? Huh. So he's singing about Illuminati conspiracy theorists. In the chorus, man is born with the will to survive, he'll take no for an answer. Unless he's forced to watch that Velma series, then he won't even have the will left to live. He'll get by, somehow he'll try, he won't take no and never let go. He has some pretty big grudges against a guy he lost an arm wrestling match to. In the second verse, Peter mentions that he hears them talk about Kingdom Come and he hears them discuss Armageddon. The DC Elseworlds story Kingdom Come, they definitely agree on being really good. But the Michael Bay Armageddon film, on the other hand, there's quite a bit of debate on that one. They say the hour is getting late, but I can still hear someone say, "This is not the way." They got the daylight saving hours wrong. After another chorus, 2.5 minutes in, we get a groovy and folky keyboard solo. Grolky, if you will. That seems to emulate the sounds of a woodwind instrument like a flute or a reed. This goes on for about 1.5 minutes until the 4-minute mark, where the song seems to start over and Peter sings the chorus for one last time before Andrew greets us out with an epic guitar solo as the track fades out. I can also see why this may be Camel's most memorable song, and possibly the only one they had. It may well be the most accessible of the tracks in this album alone, in that it does mostly follow the typical verse-chorus structure, while still having those long instrumental solos you come to expect from a prog-rock song. After that is Curiosity, written by Peter Bardens and the only other song to have Doug Ferguson sing in it. In this curious track, Doug's bass is at the prime here, shining through with serene subtlety as he sings to sail away, then you go to a place you know. Sailing takes me away to where I always heard it could be. Then he asks, why not let me come along, as he promises that he won't tell no one. He won't tell anyone about your holiday/mission to Tortuga. Then we get struck by another piece of energized guitar for a bit before Doug sings the next verse about our bodies being entwined as he says to touch me with your mind. An invisible touch, perchance? Your dreams are a mystery. Please share them with me. Camel, the original Inception. In what I presume to be the chorus, he says that curiosity is killing him and he just got to know. He wants to know where you had those lovely fingernails done. Actually, he asks where you're sailing, of course. As with the routine with most of the album, the lyrics here are few and in between, as we get some nice chill jamming with drums, organs, and the guitar itself. And this lasts for over 3¼ minutes, as Doug soon sings the first verse again, literally within the last minute of the track. As you might guess from some of the lyrical content, especially the bodies entwining line, this song might seem to be about sexual intercourse, not unlike Kate Bush's Feel It. Again, considering what little lyrics this song has, it was probably meant to be deliberately vague, so there you go. And so our album ends with Aruba Luba. Weird name. Also written by Peter and the other instrumental track on the album. This may seem to be where all the stops are put out, as the instruments work together to create this modern piece of rhapsodic rock. A mix of influence from King Crimson, ELP, jazz fusion, and even a little bit of Santana as well in there. And you have an animal of a song. The occasional shift of key and signature, a trait that's not uncommon in prog rock, goes by and through so fluidly, rather surprisingly, that you'd easily get used to it and adjust it almost just as quickly. Like with 6/8, there's no need for vocals here, for the organ and the guitar do the singing here, and they do so brilliantly. I honestly don't know if I can even describe the song that much in depth, other than that it's something to be heard and listened to for yourselves. But anyways, this album is fairly interesting. I'm sure the band has made more professional and diverse albums over the years onward, but this is quite a first impression. This seems to represent the prog rock genre in its rawest state and form. When the songs aren't completely instrumental, the few amounts of lyrics most of the songs have are very few and are usually at the start and end of each of these songs. Some may see that as a drawback, but to be fair though, some of my earliest material are kind of like that as well, so take it for what it's worth. Not to mention the individual band members do their best with playing their instruments, and even taking a few turns in singing too. Even though I noticed Andy Ward didn't get to sing in any of them. But still, if you're into classic 70s progressive rock but haven't heard this album and band before, I do kind of recommend it. As long as you know what you're getting into exactly, even if you are a big fan of prog rock already. But to anyone who have already heard and listened to this album before, what say you? Do you think Camel deserve a place as being among the influential bands of the prog rock genre? Would you consider this a good debut of theirs? And what may be your favourite Camel album? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Next time, we look at yet another eponymous debut album by none other than Fleetwood Mac. Hello, Adrian Mays here of the SCP Foundation. We have just landed on the island in the sea where we believed Titanus Noah to be located in. So far, we've set up a bit of camp as my crew are out at the shore at the moment. So far, we've discovered a few bits of strange wildlife,
a few leafwings, some hell vultures, maybe even a hellhawk perhaps, and even a few aquatic amphibian life forms, none of which could be identified as the Titanus Noah. However, we have read more into some of the schematics and files regarding this place and the creature we're looking for. According to those files, Monarch have established a base on this island called Outpost 7-8, where they could study and observe this kaiju. And I happen to be in pursuit of that as of now, assuming none of the creatures here come and try to snack on me. As of yet, I've yet to find the supposed priest that the files also spoke of as well. Hopefully there'll be somewhere more on this island than we may see on the surface. Anorak, if you're seeing this, you better sit tight with the others. The war on North America by Gablo and his forces may be advancing, and there's still a chance it could reach over here in Europe. I just gotta say, good luck, mate. Good luck, old friend. Over and out for now. Talk to you later.